Good afternoon, and welcome to the Globe Summit 2024. I'm Jim Hunt, and I serve as Executive Vice President for Corporate Relations and Sustainability for Eversource Energy. Thank you to all who are joining us, both here in person in the ballroom, but also virtually as we telecast live. Eversource is incredibly proud to be the presenting sponsor for this year's Globe Summit, and I'm excited to introduce what's sure to be a fascinating conversation between our Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, and Sabrina Shankman, the lead climate reporter for the Boston Globe. We're also joined here today by many members of the Governor's administration who we work collaboratively with each and every day, and elected officials like Chairman Jeff Roy from the House of Representatives. Chairman Roy. This is the fourth Globe Summit, and under this year's theme of Boston Breakthroughs, the Globe is bringing together thought leaders, academics, politicians, and entrepreneurs to share how Boston is a breakthrough leader across a diverse range of disciplines. We've developed our plan in close collaboration with the community as we work on our electric sector modernization plan. We've, at Eversource, have worked on a whole host of different breakthroughs, including our battery energy storage project in Provincetown, Massachusetts, and the first of its kind in the nation geothermal energy project in Framingham, Massachusetts. Governor Healey is one of those folks that really gets it. We've worked with her and her administration to advance these policies on clean energy, energy efficiency, and innovation, and connecting public policy with economic development and workforce development to make sure that we're bringing good-paying green jobs to our communities. We have a short video that we'd like to share with you on many of the Eversource innovations, so we'll cue the video.
This is Boston, a city of firsts. From the first calls for freedom to the first electric subway cars, this city was made by people working together. And now, another opportunity to work together is here, one that our planet and future generations demand. Together, we can make a just transition to a clean energy future. We can be the first to modernize a more equitable energy grid. As the largest utility provider in New England, we know the system, and we're already pioneers of projects that are the first of their kind, like in Cambridge, where we'll be building the largest underground substation in the United States, or in Framingham, where a geothermal network can heat and cool a neighborhood of homes and businesses, and efficient battery energy storage down the Cape, where we can upgrade reliability and reduce outage times during storms. We're making investments, enhancing our infrastructure, training a new workforce, and forming key partnerships to build what we need the right way. Boston has accomplished so much in its history. Let's accomplish more. Together, we'll lead the charge toward a clean energy future, one that works for everyone.
Well, at Eversource, we recognize the need for a skilled and trained workforce to support these new developments. We're investing in workforce development programs in connection with our grid modernization program and our renewables like offshore wind. And we're always looking for new employees who are committed to making the clean energy a reality and ensuring that our customers have access to the energy they need to power their lives each and every day. But we do need more engineers, more builders, more field workers, more thinkers, and more doers. We need young people targeting careers in clean energy. That's why we're excited to have Governor Healey here today, a visionary leader who understands that connection between public policy and economic development, and the importance of leveraging the strength of the private sector to grow climate tech. She simply gets it. So please join me in welcoming Governor Healey and turning it over to Sabrina Shankman to lead our conversation today. Sabrina?
All right. Thanks very much. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Building the Climate Workforce, where I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Governor Maura Healey about the challenges and opportunities around finding and hiring tens of thousands of people for clean energy jobs in the coming decades. My name is Sabrina Shankman. I report on climate change at the Boston Globe. Governor, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
All right. So since entering office, you've made tackling the climate crisis, from cutting emissions to adapting to rising seas, a major focus of your administration. But we know this work requires a lot of people power, people to install heat pumps, people to put solar panels on roofs, build EV charging stations, you name it, lots and lots and lots of people. So I want to start off by setting the table with some numbers, and we can go from there. As of 2023, Massachusetts Clean Energy Center was reporting just over 108,000 direct clean energy workers in Massachusetts, representing some 2.8% of jobs statewide. And, more good news, Massachusetts had the highest clean energy median hourly wage in the country at just under $30 an hour. But at the same time, a Mass CEC report came out finding that by the end of this decade, we would need about 38,000 more jobs in order to meet our clean energy needs. Those are jobs like electricians, construction workers, general and operations managers, and first-line supervisors as the most needed. So it's a lot of jobs and not a lot of years. What do you hear when you hear those numbers?
Well, those numbers excite me. They're obviously they present a challenge, and we've treated that challenge, though, as an opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to make a huge impact on climate, and it's a huge opportunity for economic development and for real growth in our labor workforce. So, I'll say at the outset, I feel like I could have a cabinet meeting because most of my secretaries are here. And I say that because it's actually important. To address climate and to do the work that we need to do, we have to work across government, across agencies. We have to work with the private sector as well. We have to work with our fine academic institutions. I see UMass Boston in the house. We all have to work together on that. So it's just sort of the approach that we take. Our clean energy industry is thriving in Massachusetts, in every corner of the state, from North Adams to New Bedford. And that's exciting. I've made a commitment. I want Massachusetts to be the global hub for climate technology. There's so much exciting innovation that's happening. But in order to make good on our goals by 2030, we need the workforce to do it. So we have been particularly focused on addressing those numbers. I had 34,000, you have 38,000. It's a lot, right? But here's what we're doing. We know that the heroes, really, of the clean energy revolution are going to be the electricians, the installers, the innovators. And we've got to grow that pipeline today. The first place we begin is with our young people. And our Secretary of Education, Pat Tutwiler, is here. We have been to high schools. We were down in Carver recently, where they have one of our innovation career pathways. This is a program where kids in high school are getting acclimation and training in the classroom and then experiential learning, which is opening their eyes up to careers in clean energy. It's awesome. I think we also know, having spent a lot of time with young people, this is where it's at, right? The energy they are bringing to this, they want to be part of that workforce. So we serve that up in that way. We also have something happening through our Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. Emily Reichert is here, our director. One of the things that Mass CEC does is fund and support these registered apprenticeship programs. I think you've done 6,000 to date in clean energy alone. That is so, so important, matching up workforce training opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities. So I was right, 6,000 interns in 600 clean energy companies. Tomorrow we'll be announcing $16 million for workforce development and small businesses, highlighting Brockton High, for example, has a great program. It's training students on how to be EV mechanics, right? Because we need to train them up as well. To talk about a little bit of an older population, and I will finish. an older population, our Secretary of Labor and Workforce, Lauren Jones, worked closely on developing a few things with Tutwiler and Ed, working to make community college for free, working to improve access to vocational training, all with programs that are going to meet the needs of a clean energy economy. We also, through Labor and Workforce, have these mass hire operations regionally around the state, trying to get people plugged in who've been on the sidelines or out of work, plugged in with employment. And we've got a really exciting one on the North Shore that's focused on offshore wind and training for careers in offshore wind. That's super exciting. We've got another program out in Greenfield that is focused on HVAC training at Greenfield Community College. Remember, community college is free now in Massachusetts. So, we're able to bring people in that way. And finally, I'll say this, and I'm looking at my friend Tracy Palangin, who worked with us on establishing this really cool fund through social finance that is providing low interest, zero interest, forgivable loans to people who are taking steps in climate careers. So another way to incent more people into this. And we think that's super, super exciting. That's also something that we announced when we made a trip to the Vatican earlier this year with our wonderful chancellor and Tracy and Melissa and myself. We're all there. So those are some of the things that we're doing. There's a whole other component that I would like to talk about that involves labor and our unions, because that's just a whole other topic that's super important.
We'll definitely touch on that too.
Okay, great.
But lots of stuff going on, clearly, right? There's things happening in all corners of the state. But there's also, some of the realities on the ground that I hear about sometimes in my inbox now. Whenever I write a story about clean energy, I hear from people, for instance, who say, I really wanted to get whole home heat pumps, but all the contractors I talked to said it's not possible in Massachusetts, which I don't think is true, but that's what they're telling me. And I know from my reporting, many people in this room know, there are lots of people across New England, including in Massachusetts, who are showing that that is entirely true, that you can absolutely have whole home heat pumps and stay warm in the winter, but there's a disconnect among some of the contractors. So I think that's one of the things I hear about. I've heard about programs where they've struggled to find instructors for apprentice programs. So there is, I think, still this tension between the work that's being done on the ground and where we are right now, because training someone who will be ready in 6 years is not the same as having someone ready right now. I wonder if you could just let's be clear-eyed about what those challenges are and maybe explore some of those and what they look like and what the state's doing.
Yeah, well, those are all really important topics, and it's good that there's such an interest in, for example, home heat pumps, and it's also the case that we need more workers out there who are able to install those. But the good news is this. I mean, just recently we put $3.5 million of state funding into programs that are operating right now at, for example, Benjamin Franklin Cummings Institute, Holyoke Community College, and Roxbury Community College, all with instructors and students who are getting trained in these fields. So I can show you and point to real examples of where that training is happening. It's important it's happening across the state. Is there more to do? Of course. But I view us in Massachusetts as competing. We all know where we need to go. I mean, we know what we need to do in terms of addressing climate. We know that workforce is really key to this. And my view is, as we compete against other states, other countries even, whoever figures out this workforce component first wins. Just like all the companies I want to lure here to grow climate tech. If we can serve up, we're #1 in the country in education and in innovation, right? And that's going to help us attract more of these companies who want to invest and grow in Massachusetts. And if we can offer the workforce to support their endeavors, all the better.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk in your administration and elsewhere about growing a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. those terms are so important and have a lot of meaning, but they can get sort of tokenized, like they just become a rote thing to say. And I wanted to talk about what those words actually mean and what an effort that focuses on growing that workforce really looks like.
Yeah, I mean, well, I will tell you, the team is about getting stuff done, really about getting stuff done and operationalizing all of this work. And so, you know, when I think about what we're doing, you know, we're targeting students and a demographic that may be low income, people who haven't been as exposed to certain career opportunities, and trying to bring them in. I mean, it matters that we've got these career pathways in public high schools. It matters that we have free community college with this programming lined up. It also matters that we're working really closely with our labor unions. And we've had great partnerships. I recently was down at Mass Maritime. We hosted New England governors and Canadian premiers on climate, on clean energy, and how we can work together. And important area of focus was labor. We had AFL-CIO, Boston Building Trades, we had many of the unions represented and presenting and talking about what they are doing to tap into their communities through their own apprenticeship programs, their own training opportunities, bringing a number of women, bringing a number of people of color into these programs, and helping grow this pipeline and this workforce. So I'm super excited about it. When I was down there, Building Pathways South is a great program run by the labor unions down there, and doing that kind of training, bringing students to Mass Maritime, which has this amazing program focused on offshore wind and careers and training for that. So that's like real stuff that's actually happening, and it's super exciting for our state.
Yeah. So you talked before, you mentioned competition among states, but in a more collaborative vein. Earlier this week, you were part of a big announcement from 24 governors, the U.S. Climate Alliance launching a Governor's Climate Ready Workforce Initiative, committing to training 1 million new registered apprentices by 2035. What does that look like in Massachusetts, and why? And can you talk about the significance of this sort of like big interstate?
Well, I'm really proud to have Massachusetts helping to lead the U.S. Climate Alliance. And the goal of this U.S. Climate Alliance is to work together as states. And one of the things we're focused on is growing 1 million apprenticeships in short order by 2035. For us, when we had the opportunity to do this, the area that we wanted to take on as a team is Massachusetts, and I am. Our Undersecretary Ashley Stolbus here. We're wearing our Team Massachusetts bracelets, which everyone I hope has. We said, sign us up for the building sector. We want to sign up for the building sector because we have this unique, innovative relationship with our labor unions around workforce development. We're already growing apprenticeships and union training opportunities for clean energy jobs in Massachusetts. So we're like, we can lead by example, and we can help scale this through the U.S. Climate Alliance. And I say that because I mean it. 7 out of 10 jobs right now, clean energy jobs, that are in demand right now, we already have a union training program or opportunity. So it just shows you the synergy between what we're doing with our labor unions and workforce, and meeting the needs of the kind of careers that we need filled to do this work in clean energy. So it's super exciting. Another collaboration we recently announced, and I know you covered this, was our procurement of offshore wind. We went big on offshore wind, and we're in 3 different projects. One of those projects involves a collaboration with the state of Rhode Island, which is great. And it's going to be great for Rhode Island. It's going to be great for Massachusetts. And I welcome opportunities for us to work with other states, because Massachusetts, we're mighty, but we aren't the largest by geography. So the more we can work with other New England Northeast states, even these Canadian premiers in the Eastern Atlantic, the better off we'll be as we think about better ways to source, whether it's solar or wind or hydro, you name it. There's all sorts of renewable options out there.
So in addition to training new people to bring them into clean energy jobs, there's also the concept of a just transition, of recognizing that certain people who work in traditional fossil fuel industries, their jobs may not exist in a world in which we are living primarily on clean energy. And I wondered, are there any programs that exist in the state currently that focus specifically on that?
Yeah, and this has been a really interesting evolution and journey for me. When I was Attorney General, there was at that time a lot of concern about pipelines and the construction of pipelines and what that was going to mean, and there were many who wanted to see those pipelines constructed because there were a lot of jobs associated with that. And so we would face opposition at times from some in labor about opposition to more pipeline infrastructure. When we hosted that meeting at Mass Maritime a couple weeks ago, labor was at the table. And we will keep labor at the table for all of this because there are folks who have been working in fossil fuel industries who have incredible skills and talents that need to be transferred now to renewable industries and clean energy industries. And we've shown they're already doing it. And that's why they're so gung-ho and participating in what we're trying to do here in Massachusetts. And I'm just so grateful to have, for example, Chrissy Lynch, the president of the AFL-CIO, speaking, not just here in Massachusetts, but nationally about what we're doing in this marriage between labor and workforce and a clean energy transition and revolution. It's super, super exciting.
Yeah. Okay, this is a little different kind of question. So when I was a young journalist starting out, I had an editor who said to me, Sabrina, if you were smart, you would be an electrician, not a journalist. And there's definitely a lot of moments where I'm like, that was probably a good call. But I'm curious if, in a parallel universe where you've made different choices, what clean energy job would you want and why?
Wow. That's a great, and by the way, it's great. It's great. Journalism is great and necessary more than ever. And also, it is really a valuable thing to be an electrician. And we know here in Massachusetts, you can do that, and you can become that, and you can not be dealing with a lot of debt too,
yeah,
which is
good
great.
job
These
security.
are excellent careers that really could set you and your family up. So, what would I do? I was recently. The people that go down, I think this would be really cool, a little scary, but the people that have to go down to install the stuff way down deep in the ocean, there's a whole career workforce, so you get to explore the deep. That's pretty cool. I do think being an electrician would be very cool. I wish, there are times when I'm trying to do something at home and I'm like, if only I could be assured that I wouldn't burn the house down. Being an electrician is always great.
Yeah.
But there are so many jobs out there. Everything is going to touch this at some point or another. And we've got a ton of stuff that's offshore. Just think about all the work that has to be done around engineering and the construction of all that goes into the offshore wind infrastructure. And then you think about the people that have to design and manufacture and then install the cables that are going to bring energy on shore, and then the construction of the substations and the important work to shore up and modernize our grid, right? Because it doesn't do us any good unless we can get that energy out into homes and into businesses. And thank you to our utilities. We love the partnership. We're going to unlock even more of that. And we're going to get permitting and siting done soon because it's imperative to moving forward with this clean energy revolution. All the stuff that's on shore, too. Have you been up? Salem, New Bedford, these ports are going to be transformed now. And instead of having clipper ships and, whaling ships that go out, we're going to have all the architecture for this new industry that's super, super exciting. So
All right.
The possibilities are endless for careers.
But you're going undersea. I think that's great. So the last question, because I know there are some high school classes who are watching this. Real quick, what would your advice be to a high school student who's thinking now about the possibility of a clean energy job in the future?
Oh, it's for you. There's something for you in this space. Wouldn't you say, Secretary? Like there's anything, and I'm looking at you, but what do you and I really know? We should ask our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, but we'd all agree, right? And I thought it was really cool. And Carver, you know, famous for cranberries, is now going to be pioneering access for students to learn about clean energy careers. And you know, to all you kids out there, you know, like this is your future. I know how much you care about what's happening to the planet. And those before you have done a good job of screwing things up. You're going to be part of the movement to fix all of this, and we can fix it, and we can create a beautiful and healthy planet and livable communities for all of us, and you get to be part of it sooner than you think. So study hard and check out those career pathways and think about apprenticeships.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today, but thank you so much, Governor. I really appreciate you being here. And thanks to everyone here and those who have tuned in. We've got more Globe Summit stuff happening today. If you missed stuff, you can catch up with it online. And thanks again.
Great. Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Governor, just a quick closing remark. I want to thank Governor Healey and Sabrina for a provocative discussion and your call to action. I think, Governor, whoever figures out workforce first wins. We should all have that plaque in our offices. I know at Eversource, we're committed to working with you, as we already are with your administration, on workforce development and training in the clean energy sector and leading that just transition as we work on energy efficiency, whether it's our craft workers. When you said underground, I thought you wanted to get in our manholes, Governor. But we are, you'll be happy to know, we are hard at work right now building Revolution Wind off of our coast, and we'll get you a scuba suit to get you down there and help with the foundation installation. So again, I want to thank everybody who's joined us here today, both in person and virtual. Up next, our Globe real estate reporter, Catherine Carlock, will moderate a discussion titled From Cubicles to Condos, Office to Residential Conversions. I know this is another priority for both the governor and companies around Massachusetts to create affordable housing so that we have livable communities. This session will begin virtually and live stream in just a few minutes. So please join me again in thanking Governor Healey and Sabrina Shankman.